Have you ever met someone new and suddenly your mind goes completely blank? You want to say something, but the words just don't come out. Instead, there's this awkward silence, and you wish you could just disappear. Don't worry, you're not alone. Almost everyone has felt that way at some point. The truth is, starting conversations in English can feel scary. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be. In this episode, we're going to make it simple. I'm going to show you exactly how to start small talk, how to keep it going, and how to end it politely, step by step. By the end of this video, you'll feel ready to walk up to someone and say hello with confidence. And here's a little secret. There's one phrase I'll share near the end of this lesson, a phrase so powerful that it makes people instantly feel connected to you. Don't miss it. It might just change the way you make friends forever. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you this. What's the first thing you usually say to someone new? Think about it. Keep it in your mind, because in just a moment, we'll compare it with the most natural greetings native speakers actually use. All right, let's begin our journey into small talk and making friends. Get ready, because this is going to be easier and more fun than you think. All right, let's talk about the very first step of making friends. Greetings and introductions. Think about this. Every friendship, every relationship, every new connection you've ever had, it all started with just a few words. A simple hello can change everything. But the way you say it matters a lot. Now, let's imagine you're in the US. You walk into a coffee shop and you see someone sitting alone at a table. Maybe his name is Michael, or maybe it's Jessica. What do you say? Most learners think they should say something very formal, like, "Hello, how are you today?" But here's the thing. Native speakers rarely talk like that in everyday life. Instead, they keep it short, simple, and casual. So instead of, "Hello, how are you today?" try something like, "Hey, how's it going?" "Hi, what's up?" Or even just, "Hey, nice to meet you." These are friendly, natural, and they don't sound stiff. Now let's practice this together. I'll say the phrase, and then you repeat it out loud even if you're alone. Ready? "Hey, how's it going?" Good. Now again. "Hi, what's up?" Perfect. And one more. "Hey, nice to meet you." Great job. Every time you repeat, you're training your brain to sound more natural. Now, greetings are just the beginning. What happens next? Introductions. In the US, people usually start with their first name only. For example, "I'm David," "My name's Emily," or simply, "I'm Chris." That's it. Short and simple. Americans don't usually say their full name unless it's a formal setting like a job interview. So let's practice introductions. Repeat after me. "I'm David." "My name's Emily." "I'm Chris." See how quick and natural that feels? Now here's something interesting. When someone tells you their name, don't just nod. Respond warmly. For example, "Nice to meet you, Michael." Or, "It's great meeting you, Jessica." Using their name instantly makes the conversation more personal. People love hearing their own name. It makes them feel seen and valued. Here's a little loop for you. Imagine you meet someone new tomorrow. They say, "I'm Sarah." You could just say hi, but if you reply, "Nice to meet you, Sarah," you've already made the interaction warmer. Let's try it. "I'm Sarah." "Nice to meet you, Sarah." Feels better, right? And here's where it gets even more powerful. Sometimes adding a small compliment right after introductions can make a huge difference. For example, "Nice to meet you, John. I like your jacket." "Great to meet you, Lisa. That's a cool bag." But keep it simple and genuine. Americans love small compliments, but only if they sound real. Don't overdo it. So let's practice that. "Nice to meet you, John. I like your jacket." "Great to meet you, Lisa. That's a cool bag." Now, I want you to notice something. Every step we're practicing here, greeting, introducing, repeating the name, giving a compliment, it's like building blocks. One leads to the other, making the conversation smoother and warmer. But wait, there's something even more interesting. Did you know that how you say hello can actually decide if the conversation will continue or end right there? In just a moment, I'll share a simple trick that almost guarantees the other person will keep talking with you. You don't want to miss that. So, to recap this section quickly, keep greetings short and casual, like, "Hey, how's it going?" Introduce yourself with just your first name. Use their name back. It makes the connection personal. Add a small compliment to keep it friendly. And now, in the next section, I'll show you the exact trick that makes people want to keep talking after the first hello. It's a game changer. Stay with me.
Now that we've learned greetings and introductions, let's move to the next step, small talk. This is where real connections begin. Think about it. After you say hello, what comes next? If you stay silent, the conversation dies. But if you know how to start small talk, you can turn strangers into friends. In the United States, small talk is everywhere. People talk in coffee shops, at bus stops, in the office, even standing in line at the grocery store. It may feel a little strange at first, but it's one of the easiest ways to start building friendships. So, what do Americans usually talk about in small talk? 3 of the most common topics are the weather, surroundings, and shared experiences. Simple, right? Imagine you're standing outside on a sunny afternoon. You meet someone like Jessica. You don't know her yet, but you can easily start with the weather. You might say, "It's such a beautiful day today." Or, "The weather feels amazing, doesn't it?" Instantly, you've opened the door for conversation. Now, let's move to surroundings. This is one of the easiest tricks. Wherever you are, look around and mention something. If you're at a coffee shop, you could say, "I really like the vibe here." Or, "This place makes a great latte." If you're at the park, you could say, "It's so relaxing here." Or, "The view is beautiful today." You don't need anything complicated. Small observations work like magic. And then there are shared experiences. This is powerful because it makes the other person feel connected to you. For example, imagine you're both waiting for a bus. You might say, "Looks like the bus is running late again." Or if you're both in class, you might say, "That lecture was interesting. What did you think?" It's small, but it shows that you and the other person are in the same moment together. Here's something important. Small talk in America often starts with a question, but not a very personal one. Keep it light. For example, "Have you tried the muffins here?" Or, "Do you come here often?" Or even, "How's your day going so far?" These are safe, friendly, and natural. But here's the real secret. The way you ask matters more than the words. If you say it flatly, it might not work. If you say it with warmth and interest, people respond. Americans often smile while making small talk, even with strangers. That smile is part of the conversation. Now, let's explore some ready-to-use phrases you can carry in your pocket. "How's your day going?" What do you think of this place?
Have you been here before? That looks good. What is it? How's work going for you? These phrases are short, casual, and they give the other person something to answer. And once they answer, you're no longer strangers. You're already in a conversation. Let's take a little story example. Imagine you're at a gym in New York. You see a guy named Ryan lifting weights. You want to start a conversation, but you don't want it to feel awkward. Instead of saying something random, you notice his water bottle. You might say, "That's a cool bottle. Where'd you get it?" He smiles and tells you. Now you're talking. And from there, you can continue. "I've been looking for one like that. Do you come to this gym often?" See how one small talk starter creates a flow. Or imagine you're at the library and you see someone like Emily reading a book. You could say, "That looks interesting. Is it good so far?" People love to share their opinions, and she'll probably tell you about it. Now you're both talking. Here's another powerful approach. Use the environment as your helper. If there's music playing, you can ask, "Do you know this song?" If there is an event happening, you can say, "This place is packed today." Simple, but effective. But let me tell you something even more powerful. The best small talk starter is not about the topic itself. It's about showing interest in the person. For example, instead of just saying, "The coffee here is good," you can say, "Do you usually get coffee here?" This shifts the focus from the place to the person, which makes the conversation more personal. Now you might be wondering, what if the person doesn't respond much? What if they just say yes or no? That's where the follow-up trick comes in, which I'll share in the next section. It's the key that keeps the conversation alive, even if the other person gives short answers. You'll want to hear that because it changes everything. Before we move forward, let's recap what we covered here. Small talk in America often starts with topics like weather, surroundings, and shared experiences. Use light, open-ended questions such as, "How's your day going?" or "Have you been here before?" Always show genuine interest and let the other person share. That's how strangers become friends. And in the next section, I'll show you how to keep the conversation going naturally, even if the other person doesn't give you much at first. This is where small talk turns into real connection. We've talked about how to start small talk, but now comes the real challenge. How do you keep it going? Anyone can say hello, but it takes skill to turn a short moment into a real conversation, and that skill can change your life. Think about it. You meet someone at a cafe, you ask about the weather, and they answer, but what happens next? If you stop there, the conversation ends. But if you know how to keep it flowing, you open the door to connection, friendship, and even opportunities. So, how do people in the United States usually keep conversations alive? There are 3 keys: follow-up questions, sharing about yourself, and listening actively. Let's start with follow-up questions. This is the golden rule. If someone tells you a little, ask them more about it. For example, you say, "How's your day going?" And they say, "Pretty good. I just came from the gym." Most people stop there, but you can keep it alive by asking, "Oh, nice. Do you go to the gym often?" Or, "What kind of workouts do you usually do?" Suddenly, you're going deeper.
Follow-up questions show that you care. They tell the other person, I'm not just talking to fill the silence, I'm interested in you. And that's powerful. Next comes sharing about yourself. A good conversation is never one-sided. If someone says, I just came from the gym, you don't only ask them questions, you can add something about yourself. That's great. I've been thinking about starting workouts again. Or, I used to go in the evenings, but mornings feel better for me. Now it's a two-way street. You're giving the other person something to respond to as well. And then we have active listening. This might be the most important of all. Americans, like anyone else, can tell when you're really listening versus when you're just waiting for your turn to speak. Show that you're listening by nodding, smiling, or responding with short phrases like, that's interesting. I get what you mean. Or, I see what you're saying. These small signals make people feel heard. Let's put it together in an example. Imagine you're at a park and you meet someone named David walking his dog. You start with, your dog's really cute. What's his name? He says, his name's Max. He loves running around here. Instead of stopping, you follow up, oh, how long have you had him? David says, about 3 years now. Then you share. That's awesome. My cousin just adopted a dog too. You see how the flow keeps building? One question leads to another, and before you know it, you're both enjoying the conversation. Here's another scene. You're in class, and someone like Sarah says, this project is really tough. If you just reply, yeah, it is, the talk ends. But if you say, yeah, totally, what part do you find the hardest? She'll open up more. And then you can add, I struggled with the research part, but the writing is getting easier. Now you've both shared something, and the conversation feels alive. Now let's talk about transitions. These are smooth ways to move from one topic to another without it feeling forced. For example, if you're talking about food and someone says, I love Italian food, you can transition by saying, oh, that reminds me. Have you ever been to Little Italy in New York? Or, do you like cooking at home too? The conversation shifts naturally. Another trick is to notice details. If someone mentions they went to Chicago last summer, you can say, that sounds fun. What did you like most about it? And if they say they loved the food, you can jump into a new topic. Speaking of food, have you tried deep dish pizza? That way the talk keeps flowing smoothly. But here's a secret most people don't realize. Silence is not the enemy. In the US, small gaps in conversation are normal. Don't panic if there's a few seconds of quiet. Just smile and bring in a light topic again. Sometimes a little break actually makes the talk feel more natural. Another key to keeping conversations alive is enthusiasm. Imagine two people saying the same sentence. Person A says flatly, I like movies. Person B says with energy, I love watching movies, especially thrillers. Which one makes you want to keep talking? Energy attracts energy. When you show excitement, people want to share more with you. Let's recap some ready-to-use strategies. Ask follow-up questions. Share a little about yourself. Listen actively and show interest. Use smooth transitions between topics. Don't be afraid of small silences. Bring enthusiasm into your words. Here's one more example. You're waiting in line at a coffee shop, and a guy named Michael says, "This line is taking forever." You could just laugh and agree, but to keep it alive, you say, "Yeah, I guess it's the weekend rush. Do you usually come here?" He might say, "Yeah, I love their caramel lattes." Now you can add, "Oh, I haven't tried that one yet. Do you recommend it?" Suddenly, you've got a real conversation happening in a simple coffee line. That's the beauty of keeping conversations going. It doesn't require fancy words. It just needs curiosity, interest, and a little bit of sharing. So the next time you meet someone, remember, don't let the talk die after hello. Ask, share, listen, and enjoy the flow. That's how small talk turns into connection, and connection turns into friendship. One of the biggest challenges in small talk is not just starting it, but knowing how to end it without being rude. Think about it. You meet someone, the talk is nice, but now you need to leave. If you just walk away, it feels cold. If you keep talking, it drags on. So, how do native speakers in the US handle this? Let's find out. The secret is always leave on a friendly note. A polite ending makes people remember you in a positive way, and sometimes that's even more important than the conversation itself. So let's go through a few natural phrases. Repeat after me so they stick in your mind. The first one is, "It was really nice talking to you." Simple, warm, and respectful. Try it. "It was really nice talking to you." Here's another. "I should let you go now, but I really enjoyed our chat." This phrase works great when the other person might also be ready to move on. Say it with me. "I should let you go now, but I really enjoyed our chat." Now, let's imagine you actually want to continue the friendship. What should you say? Native speakers often use this one. "Let's catch up again soon." Or, "Let's grab coffee sometime." These endings don't just close the talk, they open the door for the next one. And here's one more powerful phrase. "I'll see you around." It's casual, it's easy, and it leaves the connection open. But wait, the most important part is this, your tone. Even the best phrase can sound rude if your voice is cold. Smile when you say it. Sound warm. That's how people in the US know you mean it. Now, let's do a quick practice loop. I'll say a situation, and you try the polite ending. You just met Sarah at work, and the break is over. What do you say? Right. You can say, "It was really nice talking to you, Sarah. Let's catch up again soon."
Another one. You're chatting with Mike at a party, but you need to leave. Try this. "Hey, Mike, I should let you go now, but I really enjoyed our chat." Did you see what happened there? You didn't just leave, you left politely, and you left the other person smiling. And here's a little teaser. In the next section, we'll put everything together. The greetings, the small talk starters, keeping the conversation going, and polite endings, so you can see how a full, real-life conversation flows from start to finish. That's where your confidence will really shine. Stay tuned for that. Now, before we wrap up this episode, I want to share a secret phrase with you. It's one of those powerful little sentences that can completely change the way people see you. Here it is. "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion." Simple, right? But trust me, this phrase has magic. Why? Because people love to feel heard.
They love to feel like their thoughts matter. And when you say, "I'd love to hear your opinion," you're telling them that their voice is important. That small line makes you unforgettable. Let me share a quick story. Michael had just moved to a new city for work. He didn't know many people, and starting conversations felt awkward. One day, he was sitting with a colleague at lunch. The colleague mentioned something about weekend hiking trips. Now, Michael could have just nodded and said nothing, but instead, he used the secret phrase. He smiled and said, "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion. What's the best trail around here?" And guess what happened? His colleague lit up. He started talking with excitement, sharing stories about different trails, favorite spots, and funny hiking memories. That one phrase turned a short, dry chat into a real friendship. A week later, Michael was out hiking with a group of new friends just because he showed genuine interest. This phrase works anywhere. At work, at school, at a party, even with neighbors. The key is that it makes the other person feel valued. And when people feel valued, they want to spend more time with you. Now let's practice it together. Repeat after me. "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion." Again, but this time with a smile in your voice. "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion." Here's a quick practice loop. I'll give you a situation and you try the phrase. You're talking to Emily and she mentions she just watched a new movie. What do you say? Exactly. "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion. Was it worth watching?" Now another one. You're chatting with David about his favorite sport. You say, "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you like most about it?" See how smooth that sounds? You're not just making small talk. You're building trust, connection, and friendship. And here's the motivation I want you to remember. This one phrase can turn strangers into friends. It's short, it's easy, and it works every time. And in our final recap, I'll show you how everything we've learned in this episode fits together, so you'll walk away with a clear roadmap for real conversations in English. All right, before we close today's episode, let's do a rapid review together. This part is quick, sharp, and powerful, so stay with me until the end. We've covered a lot today. Let's bring it all back. First, greetings and introductions. You learned how to start with a confident smile and say, "Hi, I'm Sarah," or "Nice to meet you, I'm James." Simple, clear, and friendly. Second, small talk starters. Remember phrases like, "How's your date going?" Or, "What do you think about this place? Have you been here before?" These are your open doors to new conversations. Third, keeping conversations going. You discovered the power of follow-up questions like, "Really? Tell me more about that." Or, "That sounds fun. How often do you do it?" Then we learned how to end conversations politely with lines like, "It was great talking to you. Let's catch up soon." Or, "I enjoyed this chat. I'll see you around." And of course, the secret phrase, "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion." The one phrase that can turn strangers into friends. Now, it's time for your rapid drill. I'll give you a phrase and you repeat it out loud. Ready? Let's go. Say, "Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you." Say, "How's your day going?" Say, "That sounds fun. Tell me more." Say, "It was great talking to you. See you soon." Say, "That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion." Perfect. This quick drill locks the phrases into your memory. And the more you say them, the more natural they'll feel when you speak to real people. Now here's your teaser. In the final close, I'll show you how to put everything together into one smooth, natural conversation, so you'll never feel stuck again. You did it. You've made it to the end of episode 9. That already says something about you. You're serious about improving your English, and you're willing to stay focused for a whole hour. That kind of effort is what creates real change. Let's bring everything together one last time. Today, you learned how to start conversations with simple, friendly greetings, use powerful small talk starters that open doors, keep conversations alive with curiosity and follow-up questions, end chats politely without awkwardness, and finally, the secret phrase that makes people feel valued. That's interesting. I'd love to hear your opinion. These are not just words. They are keys. Keys that can unlock new friendships, better connections, and more confidence every time you speak. Now, here's my challenge to you. Don't just listen. Practice. Tonight, tomorrow, this week, use at least one of these phrases in real life. It could be with a colleague, a neighbor, or even the cashier at the grocery store. The more you use them, the more natural they'll feel when you speak to real people. And remember this, fluency isn't about speaking perfect English. It's about connecting. It's about showing interest, sharing yourself, and making people feel comfortable with you. Every single phrase you learn today is a tool for connection, and connection is the heart of language. So keep practicing, keep repeating, and keep showing up for yourself, because every conversation you start brings you one step closer to confidence. This was episode 9 of our Social English series. In the next episode, we'll go even deeper into real-life situations where you can apply these skills. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Until then, keep smiling, keep speaking, and keep growing. You've got this.